Whoa, hey everyone. Whoa, geez, I am not ready tonight, I guess. Oh boy. Welcome to Medaverse Studios. Hi. Wow. I thought I was all ready this evening. Wow. Anyway, hey, welcome to the show. I'm Mike Lockhart, the owner, creator, developer, blah 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 blah. You name it, I'm probably it over here at Medaverse Studios, and your host for this wonderful evening. Oh, what's going on over here? Nothing of importance. So yeah, welcome to this weekly little show we do over here, where I just kind of hang out, give you guys an update on what's been going on over here as we continue the development on our next game, Project Artificial Legacy. So this whole last month, this and last month we've been working on doing taking a break from some of the 2D stuff and focusing on the 64-bit edition of the 64-bit chapter of this game, and by designing some characters that would fall in line with the classic NES, the classic N64, PlayStation, Sega Saturn look. Excuse me. Developing some stuff, trying to figure out limitations on what we can and can't do. One of the big things we're focusing on with this game is making sure these elements are designed so they can actually work on the actual hardware. So we've been dissecting, looking at how a lot of the N64 stuff and PlayStation stuff was created. During the last few shows, we've been doing the character models. This was wow, I am just out of it. Wow, I'm doing a lot of rambling tonight, thinking. So last week we focused on trying to create one of the bad guys, one of the foot soldiers. Came out pretty good. I don't know why. I look at it and I'm like, could have done better. I think this could look better. But I do realize like we haven't put any textures on this thing yet. And we are dealing with the N64 era or PlayStation 64-bit era, and honestly, a lot of stuff looked like crap back then. Really, if you go back and you look, a lot of stuff looked like crap back then. But all that matters is that it plays well still. So anyway, we got one of the main foot soldiers done. He came in under 500 polygons. He came in 541 polygons, which is pretty good. That is a good size for this era. Really, anything exceeding, I think exceeding 1,000 was pretty much unheard of for this era. So being able to get to this point with this is actually was a feat, and I actually, looking at it, I am very happy with how it came out. This definitely looked like something from that era. It fits the requirements. I mean, we haven't done anything really with textures, which is another situation where there were limitations to what you could and couldn't do for textures. This is one area where later down the road, when we actually start getting feedback from you guys, and you guys are helping us decide which path we're going to take with this, this will be a big factor in what we do with the characters. Is that during this era, like if we were to go with the N64 as our platform of choice, we would definitely be using as few textures as possible for these characters, and because we only got a very limited amount of space to work with, so making sure the character would fit. I am burpy today. Making sure that we have plenty of room on it for storing the models, the sounds, the graphics. I mean, we are talking about a very little chunk of space, which is one of the big reasons why you had a lot of people jump ship over to PlayStation. So with it looking as good as it does without any textures is good. This is definitely a good thing. It looks cool. Really good fun. Now, our hero, who we worked on last month, she came in at 852 polygons. While she is within the given amount of what we wanted. She is around this. I think she's either around or close to the same size as what Link was. So I mean, it's acceptable. Though I look at it and I feel like we could probably go in and downgrade it. We could probably go in, reduce some elements. I'm honestly not super happy with how she turned out. I mean, when we were developing her, I was happy, but I took a break. We worked on the other guy. Coming back to her now, I'm not thrilled. It really kind of, we really designed her off the cuff, on the fly. We didn't. I don't have any actual drawings on how she's supposed to look, so we were just throwing something together. And honestly, I'm not happy with it. I definitely want to go back to the drawing board on her, which actually segues into a little bit of news that's going to happen soon, is that I've got a drawing tablet finally coming on its way, and we will be doing some artwork on the show. Actually be working with the tablet and drawing again. Earlier in way early on the show, we did I did the really bizarre way of doing this with a camera over a drawing pad and drawing that way, and they weren't great episodes, and I refrained from doing a lot more after that. It was an experiment. It did not go well, but with this I'll be able to actually do drawing on the computer, and it'll actually come up pretty decently. So what we're going to wind up doing is we're not going to worry about this character for now, and I'm going to wait for that tablet to come in. Once it comes in, we're going to hook it up, and we're going to, well, I'm going to flesh out her design, what she's going to look like for her 64-bit counterpart. One of the ongoing trends with this game is that each game takes place so many years into the future for our character. First game, what was her age in the first game? Let's look at the wiki. Ooh. A lot of stuff here. So first game, the NES game, she's technically a 7-year-old. Second game, Super Nintendo, she will be a 12-year-old. So this game, she is around 17 years old, based on the timeline. We're is it really 17? Yeah, 17 years. Okay, so so that's how old she'll be in this one. So I mean, we got to come out with a design that fits a 17-year-old. I mean, we can't just use what we designed previously with our character, where she had a much more childish look, baggy shirt. The whole idea is she's evolving as a character with each game. So the version you see in the NES, Super NES version, will be very different when we get to the more up-to-date consoles. The character is, in theory, growing with the audience. So it was a game idea that we came up with, and it was one that I came up with, and I thought, hey, wouldn't it be kind of cool? I mean, like, you hear about like characters age, like everyone complains about comic books where the characters never age in real time, with the exception of a few actually out there that do age in real time. Actually, honestly, the only one that comes to mind is Savage Dragon, which great series, highly recommend it. But the comics are in real time, which is great. And I thought, well, wouldn't it be kind of cool if we had a video game character that aged with the audience? And I was thinking, like, well, when I got my NES, when I got it was 1988. So, and I was, I was 7 years old at the time. So I'm thinking, okay, we'll have the character being 7. On top of that, my daughter is currently 7, so it kind of I've always kind of like was designing the younger version of this character loosely based off of my daughter, kind of like design wise, kind of like basing off like how does she dress. That's how we kind of have the character dress. How does she act? It's kind of like how I want the character to act, things like that. And as he gets older, so I mean that's where she's based off, and then the older version is more I don't know, it's a little bit more loose, based off of other characters that I've found inspiration from, and just basing. I mean, the look is at this point very like ambiguous. I mean, I'm trying to. We need to design it because like I don't know what my dog's gonna look like in 20 years, so it's all kind of like, okay, so how are we gonna do this? It's a lot more left to the imagination. But at this point, also, the character is becoming more of a superhero type character. She's no longer a kid in this world, just kind of trying to save her father. And now all of a sudden, she's taking on a bigger responsibility. She's realized her calling is to become a hero, and so she's taking on more of that type of role. So we got that whole end of it. So we wanted to, she's going to definitely evolve past being a kid with this special device her father made. Now she all of a sudden she's going to be incorporating that to her outfit. She's going to have additional elements into her outfit. So we got to figure all that stuff out. On top of all of that too is the fact that we're working with our reality, where we have a fantasy meets cyberpunk meets steampunk type world. So we've got to design outfits around that idea. Like, how would she dress? Do we want to go with more of a fantasy look, or do we want to go with a more cyberpunk look? What do we want to do? So again, we're looking at I'm looking at the different types of media. What were the clothing fashions in the mid to late 90s, using that as things to design the character off. I mean, we do have a lot of no wait, so Matrix I don't think had hit yet. I think we are okay. So I'm just looking at what I've kind of come up with. We've got the punk era. The punk era is kind of taking off in music, so we got that kind of style. I made mentions of things like Power Rangers, so the whole spandex uniform type look is starting to take off too. And we got a lot of different anime series that we could use as examples, kind of figuring out what the art style, what the outfits would look like. So I mean, this is all stuff we got to figure out, but being able to actually sit down later on in the next couple weeks and actually draw out this type of stuff is going to be really hugely beneficial for this. Now, so as I said, that we're gonna stop working on our hero. We'll probably go back once we kind of design it. We'll take elements from this that we think, okay, well, we put a lot of work in that head to look right, so we'll probably just snatch that, bring that over, unless I decide like that hairstyle just has to go type thing, or like, okay, let's restart from scratch, let's try to get more of a anime look, something like that. All right, we'll figure that out. But the bad guys, on the other hand, they're not really going to change. They're definitely going to be keeping this look. I mean, we're basing it off of the sprite anyway. Do I have the sprite open here somewhere? Can I get to the sprite quickly here? Sprites. Bad guy. You know, it's funny. I made that N64 game. I'll get one of them someday. I designed the Super Nintendo version of this character. I can't seem to find it anymore. But anyway, so we had the sprite version to work off of. So I think we can definitely. It still has room for a lot of improvements. I don't feel we're 100% there. I mean, the head's pretty damn close. I think its front is a little bit too. Let's just fix that right now. I feel like the front is a little too close. It almost has more of a head. Like the characters are supposed to be more dragon-like, though I definitely feel a lot more hedgehog in this design. So probably want to fix that, but yeah. So we still got lots of room for improvement to get this character to look better. Maybe adding some textures, like probably for the mouth, to give it that jagged mouth look, probably would be very beneficial. So we'll probably do that at some point. But overall, I mean, it's definitely he's got elements we still got to work on, but it's getting there. It is a lot better than it. It turned out pretty good, but we had something to work off of, so that's why it actually turned out pretty nice. So anyway, yeah. So this was coming well, pretty good. I do need to look into importing these characters in Unreal, trying to get the bone structures to work, because that was something else we did get going. We got the bone structures in these guys. So now it's just a matter of getting them to actually walk and move around and see how that's gonna feel. But so yeah, I mean, that's where we are with this. I mean, these characters are definitely taking off. They're definitely falling into place. The Tetris pieces are falling into place on this. So I mean, that's what we've been doing on the show for the last month and a half. Now, behind the scenes on the 2D end of this game, I actually started making some progress again this week, and we actually figured out quite a bit last week. We were kind of sitting down trying to figure out exactly the weapon system for this game, because the idea of just constantly, it's like pretty much all 4 elements were kind of doing the same thing. They were all just all shooting, and that didn't really make sense for a device that was supposed to be being used to control magic. It's like, well, they're all doing the same thing. They're shooting something out. That's really not magic. So we started playing around with the idea, and while we're going to have fire be the first element you get, so hey, I have that shooting element, because I mean, fire is like does damage, makes the most sense. It also allows us to destroy objects too, because in theory it's either burning it up or melting it. So we started playing around with some other things. We thought of the idea, okay, we could do an ice weapon, which allow you to freeze an enemy, and it's like, it works. I mean, could also possibly use it to like extinguish fire, and probably not going to be the most useful of all elements. It could be like an idea where it's like, okay, you want to just get through a level without having to deal with shooting, or you use it on a boss to just like stun them so they stop while you can get in a lot of shots. So the ice weapon, it works. We don't feel like it's going to be a very utilized weapon, but it's there, and it works. So the next one we thought was like, okay, well, let's do a push and pull magic ability, so, or a levitation type ability. So what I've been working on this week is actually incorporating a mechanic now, so that you can push and pull objects around. So this way we can actually have puzzles where once you've got the stone that allows you to do push levitation. Levitation is for up and down usually, but right now I don't have something for push and pull besides saying levitation, which is not really accurate. But we're gonna be working on the push and pull mechanic, so now you're able to actually grab specific blocks and move them out of the way, which something you could do on the NES. It works, and it just gives that other magic element. So now we actually have an actual magic power, where it's like, okay, here we're lifting up heavy objects with magic. So it did give us that element. It definitely works great. Works pretty well with this, and we're thinking that with the exception of possibly switching between fire and ice, that with push and pull and levitation, whatever, you just have to get within range of an object and it would just kind of trigger on its own. That's the idea right now. Once you have the stone, it just kind of automatically does. But we also played around with the idea of possibly just making it so like you do have to hit select to cycle through the different weapons. We don't know yet. We're going to play around with it, see what feels better, and then we'll incorporate that as the actual game mechanic. But yeah, so we've actually been making progress where we're actually doing finally some different weaponry and not everything just doing the exact same thing. So big bit of coding going on for that, and it's great. It's working, and I'm excited to actually show you guys in the near future on how this is going to look. Right now it's still buggy, so I'm not going to load up Unreal and show you guys, but it's in there. It's semi-working. Definitely has bugs, but it's working. So it's gonna be fun. So anyway, so yeah, that's all the progress that's been going on with the game itself. I have been doing a ton of world building stuff lately too, really kind of fleshing out this world, fleshing out the different aspects of the story. One thing that had always been kind of bugging me is how each game connects, and I've been slowly getting those connected. I mean, one thing that's always driven me kind of bonkers with games has not games in general, but like sequels, is always been the why the hell did you lose all the powers you had in the first game? So I've been actually trying to figure out ways to explain that in our games. And I've actually been pretty happy with how some of this has been turning out. Ooh, I like that. That's good. So I've actually written up, like in our game right now, it's like I never had an explanation why the hell you're going through the sewer of all places to find these stones. And then it came to me the other day. It's like, you know what? Here's your explanation. The father's trying to hide the elements from the bad guys. Flushed them down the toilet. End of story. I mean, there you go. There's your explanation of why the heck you are going through the sewer trying to find these stones. It's like, okay, why are you doing this? Why aren't they like scattered across the world type thing? So we'll have the explanation in the virtual manual for the game saying your father, before he was captured, was able to dispose of the elements by sending him down the kitchen sink or flushing him down the toilet. So it works. It's a pretty decent explanation why you're going through the sewers looking for these cosmic stones, or well, not cosmic. No, that's just lame. These just like magical stones. These elements that are allowing this device to tap into the magic force. Which again, another thing we have to work on is that name. We got lots to work on still, but we're getting there. Everything is slowly coming together. Okay, so I cannot do that. Dang it. But yeah, so we got that for that game. The Super Nintendo game, the explanation will be like something around the lines of like, and as I just want to point out, I am still fleshing out the details on this stuff. But on the Super Nintendo game, the idea is going to be the reason why you have to recollect everything is the fact that your father decides after the first game to destroy the weapon, not knowing to him that you actually rescued the item and he actually didn't destroy it, but he took the stones and actually hid them with it throughout the world, so no one could ever find them. And so your goal in the Super Nintendo game, because it is a bigger game, is going to be trying to hunt down these items to regain all your existing powers and possibly along the way you find additional elements that grant you new powers. So that's kind of like where we're going with the explanation for that game. We decided that possibly for the this game is you will start off with the powers. You'll start off with the 4 basic powers, or 5, whatever, and you'll be finding new stuff. So it'll be like, hey, you're used to this stuff. You've played with in the last 2 games. Well, first off, we figured we don't want to give you that additional learning curve. Like, not only are you going to have to find them, but now you got to also figure out how they work in this 3D world. So instead of doing that, it's just going to be, you got them. First level is going to be, hey, just have some fun and figure out how this stuff works. And then from there, we're going to introduce new stuff. So, and then the GameCube or PlayStation 2 Xbox version will also start off very similar, where like you already have stuff, allowing you really to kind of just dive into the game instead of dealing with a big like, okay, I've gone through this before. I mean, we'll make it definitely accessible for people who have never played before. So like they won't be going in blind, but like for the most part, it's like you know how to play this, people. And we do have to create something to kind of to do like the backstory end of it. So like previously on Project Artificial Legacy, something like that. Because yeah, right now we don't have something like that. So when people are new to the game, they might not have a huge explanation, huge understanding of what's going on. So we got to figure out some way to do, just maybe if it's like a little screen in the beginning, just kind of explaining the story so far. But the first 2 games are really gonna the first games are definitely gonna be handled where it's like, yeah, this is part 2, but each game's going to kind of somewhat end in a notion where like this could be the last one. We're not promising that there'll be a sequel type thing. Like the first game will end with that whole like, yeah, the end type thing with maybe like a question mark at the end. The idea is like, yeah, we're thinking of doing a sequel, but depends on how well this does, we may or may not be able to make it. Then the second game will probably also have a very similar thing where it's like kind of like ending with the story will be wrapped up, but kind of leaving it open. Then the N64 PlayStation 1 will probably actually end more of a cliffhanger, possibly, where it's like, okay, there will be a part 2, and then finally the GameCube will probably wrap up the story, unless we want to go one step further and actually go and do a Wii version or 360 version, whatnot. Ooh, happy accident, I think. That just kind of gave it that nice more dragon look. I like that. That's good. It's funny how like little things can change. No, I don't like that. That stays there. Oh, okay. So yeah, we got definitely quite a bit of the story stuff flushed out, flushing it out. I'm gonna actually try to stay very focused on this and actually set up my old iMac as my primary writing system, just so I can be like kind of like focused and not be like, oh, I need to go look something up on the internet. It's like, no, gotta stay focused. No dilly-dallying over on the web and getting distracted by watching YouTube videos. None of that. It's been fun actually running on an old computer, especially one that's running an old OS that's not supporting the browser really well. How's that look? No, I don't like the nose extended out that much. I think that's good. The more I tweak it, I think the better it starts to turn out. I still think it has a little bit more of a cat look than I want. I think that's fine, honestly. Now, I wasn't really planning to keep working on this one, but I think I just kind of fallen back into working on this more. See, originally my plan was for tonight was actually was going to, let's say this. I'm going to explain what my original plan for tonight was. I was actually going to dive into actually looking at level design. Actually, that one did not. No, screw this. I'm going to change the freaking color on this because if I surface edit it, where is it? Let's take all these. I don't know. Let's say. Oh, there we go. Geez, okay. So yeah, I was going through, kind of figure out level design because I've been playing around with an old game called Marathon to kind of refamiliarize myself with level design, especially for this era. One of the huge things with this era in game development is that a lot of your maps, were literally like lots of just one polygon, one-sided. They weren't really a lot of 3D objects in these. This is one of the areas from Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time, I believe. And if you see, we zoom in a lot. You can see, like, right here, like, this bridge is literally just two polygons. That is it. There's no depth whatsoever to it. And I was just kind of like trying to figure this out. I mean, you've got some objects like these tree stumps here where, yeah, it's an actual box. But if you like go to the side, like right here, there's nothing there. That is not even a completed. There are so few completed objects in here. And it's just like, wow, that this is how level design was back then. And like, here's a section from Doom, and again, like, these walls are literally just they're just sheets, like almost like sheets of paper standing up. And so I mean, it is very interesting how level design was back then. But then I mean, you have things like here's a map from Spyro. I'm sorry there's no textures on it, just for some reason they come through. But I mean, this is an actual 3D world. This is a freaking 3D model here. This did not take shortcuts. It's literally, I think once, yeah, one solid object. I think they're all one solid object anyway. I go here, if I select that, yeah, see, all the one gigantic solid object. But what I mean is just like you look at this and like you could 3D print this. This could get 3D printed out, and you could actually have like you could have a play set here for Spyro if you wanted to. It's an actual thing. But then you go and you look at something like this, and there's no way you could have 3D printed this thing out. Or I mean, at least not well. I mean, there's no actual depth to stuff. I mean, like, oh, I wish I could zoom in better. Yeah, if I zoom in too much, I get cut off. But you just look at stuff and it's like they're not double-sided. It's like it's carved out of something. But anyway, so I've been going through, I've been analyzing how these maps have been made. Just look, see, like paper thin walls everywhere. And I was curious on like size. I mean, how big were these things? And especially to give us an idea when we start building stuff. It's like, here's one map from Doom. It's 3,118 polygons. And then you go Legend of Zelda, you go here, and 2,090 polygons. Spyro was 5,261 polygons. And did I do this one already? Yeah, 3,100. This little guy was 1,100. So we're looking at, with the exception of what Spyro did, which, I mean, honestly, this is kind of, I mean, it's huge, but it's also, I don't know what, honestly, you might have a lot of polygons in here that are really, probably not enough, but this could be part of the whole appeal with PlayStation also, is that we could get technically much more detailed maps out of it. I do need to find some more maps to kind of get an idea to see what our actual limitations would be even on a PlayStation. But overall, Nintendo had like an under 4,000 polygon limit pretty much. So, there. Under 2,000, I mean. Yeah. So, but based on this, I started playing around. Started playing around with an old Bungie game, Marathon. The kind of like the prequel to Halo. And in Marathon Infinity, they actually gave you tools to make your own game, pretty much. So I've been using their level editor and actually been playing around with level design again, kind of seeing like what can and can't you do really with back in this time, kind of find the limitations, and by also looking at how Nintendo and id and everyone else out there was doing for level designs, I'm able to get an idea. I was like, okay, what are my limitations here too? Now, what Spyro did was pretty much make a full 3D model that you could run around in. It definitely seemed to be a lot more limited on like a lot of corridors and going down areas. It's a much more compact area, and that's probably why they were able to get away with that. But you look at something like Zelda and Doom, they are much larger areas for you to go around, and by doing the paper thin walls and everything and not having solid objects, it's probably how they were able to cut down and get as much as they could out of the limitations they had for polygon count. But again, all fun things that I've got to research into to figure out how they work, just so we can keep these games historically accurate. So, okay. I'm still getting a very like feline look to this guy. I want to make him more dragon-esque. Cool. I don't really need to do this, but I mean, it's not going to add a lot of polygons to it, and I feel like it's going to be something that could possibly just make me happy. So let's see if I extrude. Let's take the polygon. Now, right now, this is not a big deal. Oh, wait, no, I don't want that. Okay, so let's... We gotta extrude one at a time. Okay. Now, if I need to... Let's. I want to. Ooh, this might work. I didn't really need to add the additional polygons, but I needed to add the additional polygons. Let's see. Looks like I missed a polygon there. Oops. Flip, that's what I want. Oh good, doesn't look like it added any additional polygons on top of that. Now if I want to, I can start. Extrude, you know. Okay. In theory, if I just kind of match this up, should close. Okay, I think that is pretty damn close. Modify. I know there isn't a lot. There we go. Oops. There we go. Now, can we do symmetrical thing? No, we can't. Or can we? I like that. That looks good. Good. He's finally starting to look more like a dragon at this point. I don't think we added that many more polygons. How many we added? Yeah, like 14 total. So I think that was a good trade-off right there. It definitely looks a lot more like how I envision it as a monster. Definitely has a lot more of that menacing dragon-esque look. Now I keep referring to these guys as dragons, and I don't. Kind of a lizard people type thing. I don't think we ever officially determine if they are going to be dragons or not. It's kind of one of those things that's still kind of up in the air with us. It's like, do we want them to be dragons? Do we not want them to be dragons? Because we don't know if we want to have dragons actually be in this universe. Like, are dragons real? I mean, again, it's a fantasy world. Things like that could exist. I mean, we're still trying to figure out how we're dealing with creatures and monsters and things like that in this universe. It's still got quite a bit of stuff we got to figure out. These guys being a species of dragon would work pretty well. This guy's turning out nice. I'm gonna mess with Earth for a second. It's one thing I always liked about. Oh, I should probably close these things down at some point. Called it skin? Really? That's weird. Used to make this easier, I thought. No, I actually do not want that. Nope, don't want that either. Ooh. Unreal? Oh, interesting. Wonder if this is that's actual Unreal. I do not like the smoothing at all. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I'm gonna just put double side on just to make my life easier. Jesus, 25. Yeah, I think that looks better. Definitely really like this. Well, look at all these polygons that are just floating inside here. These technically could all get eliminated. Actually, the question is actually how many could actually get deleted. Yeah, I think a lot of those just need this. Probably could get rid of a few of these, but you never know what actually might be connected somewhere. I call it leather. Look at that. Now, what I actually want to do here. What the? Why is that using that? That is weird. It is using the wrong color up there. I am happy. I am really happy with how this guy's turning out. I kind of do. Wow, that was a loud car. I just realized his arms and legs are all going to get rearranged because I did not select them on this. I want to modify this. Wow, that is looking good. That looks like one bad guy. I thought I was saying this much time. The bad guys. Junk. Sheesh. So much work just for this area. There we go. Yep, working on bad guy fannies. Fun, fun, fun. This guy actually is turning out really nice. Now, out of curiosity, let's save this guy. What has me submerged point? Oh, 3 points removed. That's so good. So now I want to do polygons. Yep. Let's put those guys up. What do we have for polygons on this guy now? 571. Where is it? I just delete that? No, that is definitely something that needs to get multiplied. Triple. There we go. Oh, well, at least got rid of some polygons. We're now under 500. Good, good, good. No points. Okay. But hey, we are under 500, which is excellent. Why are you not welding? Keep trying to weld those points. They're not welding at all. Weird. Huh. Well, I'm going to save you. I think this has turned out really nice. Now, here's a $1,000,000 question: is how off is this thing now? Yeah, I kind of figured this. Okay, so I think that looks good. Oh, come on. Why did you not both get selected? Probably have one too. Ah! Possibly have one too many bones in here. Technically, I have an extra one there. I'm lucky that won't. Why do I keep doing that? Oh my goodness, look how terrible that looks. Oh my goodness. Look at that. That's what happens when you smooth everything out. So, yeah, that. Man, I am happy with how this guy turned out. The question is, do I want to break them up now? Because technically, the best way to get them to walk around properly is actually to have them in pieces. At least for this error. No. I don't Crash though. Crash didn't do that. I don't know. I do not know. Curiosity. Let me look that something up. I'm not. Looks like they do use weight maps. Oh, here it is. Default mannequin rig. Huh, okay, well, that's going to be a fun thing to do at some point. But I am up for the challenge. Yeah, see, there were. Where's it? Maps. Well, yeah. This has changed a lot since back in my days. I don't like the fact that these aren't colored. Jeez. It used to be you double clicked on these. At least I remember you'd be able to double click on these and you'd find out what they are. I had to redo the skeleton. Well, I don't want to bore you guys with this part of it because I definitely need to figure this out again. It has been long enough that I did not really remember it. Oh, that's new. That's really cool. Well, let's see. The next one. Well, I say let's work on creating that little gun thing he has. I mean, that's something that we can work on. I want to keep it kind of small. what we'll do is we'll modify this guy. No, I don't transform. What? Subdivide. No, I am not happy with that already. Multiply. Why have I not memorized what extrude is? Okay. Okay. Just writing a very basic shape for it. Holy cow. It's amazing what you come up with trying to replicate something from a 2D picture. Well, not even 2D, an 8-bit sprite. Eesh. Oh my goodness, it looks like something right out of He-Man. Now, I didn't even do any investigating on the size usually used for a weapon. I'm assuming they're pretty low polygon count. It is a very ridiculous looking weapon. But then again, so did a lot of the stuff from Star Trek. Original Star Trek look ridiculous, so I'm not gonna not gonna feel too bad. Huh, that does not look even. Where are we at? We are at 44 polygons. Let's do some 16 points eliminated. Okay. 4 polygons removed. We are at 40 polygons. Kind of big still. Again, I should probably go and dig out some weapons and kind of compare, see about where this falls compared to other weapons. But I mean, for a kind of a generic looking version of that gun, curiosity. So let's see how it looks. We take it and first off, we already can tell that this thing is not fully accurate. Yeah, look how much bigger that is. We definitely have to make some modifications there. You know what? I wanna yeah, let's. I'm gonna put it in his hand, but I want to use a copy because I do not want to have to try to make modifications to this with a version that is not sitting correctly. Yeah, see, when you look how much. Yeah, see, so much has to get changed on this. It's a good revision 1, but. So the way I look at it, let's see. So, first off, okay, that's how this one looks. So let's delete that. So this one places. I'm curious. Did I? That does not help. Okay, so that, let's try to figure out if I had like the hands like resting like this with the gun, but it's not like that. Which means you want to, who did that? Yeah, the girl, our hero. Now see with her hands are inside. Oh, I think at one point her hand was underneath. I mean, the idea with her is that the device was not made for her, so she's holding it more like a gun because the idea is that with an adult, it just slides over the hand like kind of like I don't know, like an iron fist type thing. So kind of like, okay, now I've got these, I can control magic this way. But because she's so small, and it's bigger, she's got to hold it more like a gun. That's the whole reason behind that design for her. Yeah, okay, so I guess this looks pretty good. Change the color. Ooh, I caps locked. That's why things weren't working. I caps lock on this whole entire time. I don't know what you call that end piece. I forgot to do double-sided. Just to save me my headaches. That is shiny. Yeah, I can deal with that. No, I can't deal with that. That's bugging me now, big time. Okay, it is done. I don't know why that's that funkiness on the end, but I like it. It looks nice. Looks like he's holding a coffee pot or something. Hey, it works. I like it. It looks kind of cool. So there we have it. We've got our first bad guy. Something we can actually put in. Once I figure out how to put it in. So, wow, yeah. I mean, this is actually a big step in having him done now is actually a big step in doing the N64 slice, PlayStation slice. You know, I think I made it clear before, but just to repeat, when I do refer to N64, I'm just referring to 64-bit era. When we haven't decided which path we're going. It's easier for me to always refer to things as N64, GameCube, SNES, NES, just because we're starting with the NES. We're going with the most likely going with Super Nintendo next. Though even though that technically hasn't even been determined, it's just easy because that's just what I'm used to referring to each generation based around. But this definitely is a huge first step. This way we can get this in. I mean, we can probably program a pretty basic AI around him for walking back and forth, attacking if you get near. So that would work in like a first-person, a really basic first-person shooter for the era. So, or a third-person shooter or whatever. So I mean, this is great. I mean, this is awesome. I'm going to say, minus the fact we don't have any textures on him yet. Which, I mean, even then, that is very minimal. I mean, we kind of, I mean, he had red bracelet type things on instead of red gloves, but I changed it just because it's easier. We don't have his little like logo on his shoulder, which, I mean, I guess that could be an easy texture, like a texture for that there. I mean, we don't really need to do it, but I mean, if we do a texture around this part of the mouth, just to give him that fang look. So I mean, there's one texture there, one texture. Let's highlight this. One texture there. I mean, we could, if we wanted to, do a texture on here, but we don't really need to. But honestly, if we're going for an N64, if we do a specifically N64, just the minimum for textures is probably perfect. So, okay, well, you know what? It's 8:30. I mean, not 8:30, 12:30. Wow. Brains fried, as always. I mean, this is a good, nice, good 2-hour show. I mean, we're not going through. I mean, if this was actually programming the game itself, probably would go longer episodes. But I think 2 hours is a good time for this. I mean, we are at a perfect stopping point, honestly. I mean, I don't know what else to do. I mean, putting the gun in was kind of the last thing really needed to be done on here without going in and start making textures, which I'm really not ready for. As I said, I mean, these are just basic elements. I mean, non-textured versions are perfectly fine for a vertical slice of this game, just to show off what we're thinking of doing. So I think we are going to end it here for tonight. So yeah, wow. I mean, I am super happy with how this is turning out. I did just notice that, like, I'm just looking over the feed right now. He is actually a little stretched in the video feed. He's actually a little bit wider. Got more of that brute look to him. But nonetheless, he looks good. So I am very happy with where we are with him. And I think this is a good stopping point for tonight. So thank you guys all for hanging out with me tonight. It's been great. And I am looking forward to not only continue working on this 3D aspect of the game. I'm looking forward to doing some map design stuff next week, because I really would like to try to figure out how to get a map into Unreal and just get moving around it. And even if it's with their out of the box character for now, just getting something put together would be pretty awesome. and then maybe eventually possibly getting the character in here in the game moving around as a simple AI. I think that would all be really awesome and really fun to do. But I'm also extremely looking forward to once the tablet gets in here and actually sitting down and actually fleshing out the designs for our hero, for what she's going to look like for the 64-bit era, and maybe even possibly the 128-bit era. So anyway, guys, thank you all so much for hanging out tonight. It's been awesome, and I will see you guys all next week here at Medaverse Studios. Take care.